Welcome to the Fireside Chat as part of the Fox Hollow. My name is Schuyler.
And I'm Keelin.
And we're going to be talking about environmental goals today. This means taking care of the space around us, whether it's our home or workspace or even our city and planet. Many studies have been done on the impact of our surrounding space on our mental health and emotional well-being. Clutter in the home is a stressor, and pollution in the atmosphere obviously leads to major health complications. By creating an aesthetic that we like, organizing our lives, adding more green spaces and functionality to city planning, and decreasing pollution of the planet, we increase our standard of living tremendously. So the first half of this podcast is going to focus on the home and workspace, on that aesthetic and some organizational tactics to get you motivated in 2019. And then the second half is going to be on city planning and how you can help the planet Earth by doing some simple things in your life to hit some of those environmental goals that you might have for the coming year. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is aesthetic. How to make a space look and feel good, like home or a good work environment. So the first thing I kind of want to throw out there is the importance of space, and we can see this even in a really old philosophy in Taoism, that the space is actually what gives an item context in a painting or in a room. So it's not the item itself, but it's the space around it that's important. And when you have too much clutter in your life, it decreases the value of the item in that space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like space, that makes space really important.
Yeah.
So it's important to have a lot of it, or to use it in a functional way.
Or use it in a valuable way. A lot of people's aesthetics look different. Like what you think is aesthetically pleasing might be different to your mom or your best friend, and you might have different ways of like styling your space and where you keep things and what's functional for you versus somebody else. However, there are a lot of similar ways that humans like to place things.
Or that feel right, like putting certain furniture in places that make more sense, like the bed. Like when you walk into a bedroom, you should be facing it,
instead of the bed being on the same wall that the door is on.
It feels really awkward to walk into a room that just doesn't feel welcoming, is how I would put that. But I guess some people like it.
Some people like it.
Because I've walked in rooms before and been like, I'm uncomfortable with this furniture arrangement.
Again, that's saying different people like different things. But if like there's a lot of people and like talking about the feng shui of a house and how things should be placed, and then they get it really deep into it, like, oh, the head of your bed should be facing a certain direction if you want like these thoughts. I'm like, oh, that's a little much, but it's a good concept. I wouldn't necessarily say that it brings, a lot of people say like, oh, it brings bad luck if something's in a wrong spot. I wouldn't go as far to say that, but
you could trip on it. That would be pretty unlucky.
If you fall down the stairs, if they're like placed in a wrong spot.
Or I've been tripping over boxes because I've been moving, and I'm like, this should not be
That's
here.
not feng shui.
No, it's not. Well, it was impeding the flow of the space. Like this little hallway over here, there was just like a storage bin that was sitting in the middle.
Architects spend a lot of time making sure that you can place things in a flow in your house, and you put a box in your pathway.
I didn't put it there. I moved it out of the way.
So, yeah. People's aesthetics are different, and yours might look completely different than somebody else's. But you need to figure out what you want to do with your space. That's number one. Figure out what you like and go with it. And don't listen to other people's opinions, because it's your space. It's your house.
Right.
It's your home, where you stay, where you reside. You get to design it, decorate it however you want without
colors, decorations, furniture.
Don't listen to other people's judgment. Like,
Whatever.
oh, you should only have neutral colors. Like, no, you don't have to.
can do whatever
you can do
you
bright
want.
pink walls in your kitchen.
You do you.
Yeah.
It's whatever makes you happy. Now, there are, of course, color guides that you can use, which human emotions can be tied to certain colors. So if you're interested in enhancing a workspace, you could choose a color that inspires you in the kitchen, is soothing in the bedroom, is calming in your office, is relaxing in your living space. You know, they're just different colors, not just colors that you like, but also colors that generally evoke a certain emotion.
Make you feel a certain way, like when you walk into a room.
Would you say that my style is, I was thinking about this, I think that it's little black dress. Like, it's just classic but simple.
Yeah.
Because if you look at my furniture and my sofa and stuff,
it's kind of
neutral.
It's
and
kind
black.
of modern traditional.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like it's modern, updated, but it also feels like a cozy traditional.
It's, you kind of choose warmer colors. Even though like you have dark woods, they're like a warmer dark wood that would be like more traditional, make you feel more at home. But yet they're sleek and simple and modern.
And then I would say most of my color comes from my decorations.
Yes, which I appreciate.
They're very colorful.
I like
And very French.
I like doing that, and I suggest if you were to decorate your house, you choose main pieces. Like, you don't get a bright pink couch or a green couch, unless it's like the centerpiece of your living room. But if you like to switch things up for like each holiday, you can make it more. You can make it flow easier and transition to a different style easier if you have all the same color furniture. Well, not exactly, but like, you know, the same palette.
Accent chairs, or like, I love having neutral furniture because then the throw pillows.
Yeah, and then
I
you
can
accent things,
change
and
it
you can
that way.
put up decorations or a different painting or something.
But some people love colorful furniture, and then their pillows would be more neutral or match their furniture.
Yeah.
But that's all up to you. And that's the fun part about designing a space that you want to live in, because you can really just make it your own.
So let's talk more about organizing.
How to make
This space?
the space functional.
Yes. I am a very big lover of organization and having everything have its exact spot.
You're good at this. I'm not. My life is chaos.
And Schuyler's life stresses me out.
It stresses me out. This is why we're talking about this, because I think that a lot of people have a lot of clutter in their life, and you are a type of person that, like, every couple months you rearrange all of your furniture, and then you also reorganize everything,
Yeah.
which
It's just like a reset.
is really inspiring, but also looks a little exhausting, but
It's
you
just
feel
a day
refreshed
of
by
work.
it. Yeah.
That's it. It's just a day. As
But
long
you like
as
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been really big into like architecture and interior design and that kind of thing. So redesigning my space with like each, when I get bored of it or when I just want to change something in my life, it invigorates me. Makes me feel more energized when I wake up in the morning if my bed's like in a different place and it feels different than it was before, it makes me feel a little different. It makes me feel like I'm moving on to the next chapter in my life. And just like changing some things and just reorganizing in general. So if you're feeling kind of bored and tired of your space, you don't need like all new furniture or anything like that. Just maybe move your bed to a different wall or move your dresser or something. And switch up your space a little bit and see how that feels and vibe with it. But more,
put it back.
more in depth of like organization. Well, first off, I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna call out Schuyler in one of her bad habits. That is the most like annoying thing to me, and it's just it makes no sense in my head.
It probably doesn't make
even
sense.
if you're the messiest person in the entire world, Schuyler,
it's me.
She doesn't put her dirty clothes in the hamper. If the hamper now,
I'm doing it now.
It's a new thing. You're in a new space.
Okay, I was putting it in the hamper, but I was also the worst part was like I was living out of the clean hamper.
Yeah.
I didn't put the clothes away.
But I've seen you have your dirty clothes hamper be completely empty, and there's like maybe a couple socks in there
on the floor.
And then you
all
like
go
I think you throw your clothes or like get undressed next to your hamper and leave them there. So there's a pile of clothes next to your hamper, your empty hamper,
Doesn't make any
and nothing
sense.
inside of it.
But I'm doing better.
Yes. But
I'm really excited about my progress.
I'm just saying everybody has different little things.
That's not little though, and it's not that only thing. Like
There's everybody has a clutter spot, and that's something
I have many clutter spots.
Yeah.
Well, I have had. In the process of moving to this new space, we've kind of had to downsize as I moved in with my partner too, and get rid of things, but also integrate both of our stuff in the same space and then organize it. And it's really important to me to start good habits in our new home.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to live out of a basket anymore.
And you don't want to have the dishes just pile up.
No, I did really good this morning. I did the dishes.
I also did the dishes this morning.
High five.
Yes.
So
it's really the little things that you implement into your daily life to keep those bad habits or like just hard things for you to remember to do or find the time to do. There's always time. There's 24 hours in a day. Do you realize how much time that actually is?
which we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah. 24 hours in a day, you have enough time to fill up the dishwasher or empty the dishwasher. It
You may
takes
feel tired.
like 5 minutes.
You're going to be more tired later, though.
Yeah, for sure. You're like, I just got home from work. I'm exhausted. I want to sit on the couch. But you have clean dishes to take out of the dishwasher. It's like, do the dishes and then go sit down.
Just do it.
Not that hard. So organizing like each space, specifically, I know you've been watching the new Marie Kondo series.
Right. So first, though, I want to talk about mise en place, which is a French culinary term that has been used for organizational purposes, and it literally just means everything in its place.
Yeah.
So everything has a spot. That's where it goes. Because I'm really bad about taking something out of where it's supposed to go and then leaving it in a random location and then not being able to find it. And that is a surefire way to have extra clutter and then not be able to find what you're looking for.
And then it wastes time.
It wastes time. And then also, if you're looking for it, can't find it, and then you're like, maybe I didn't have it in the first place, and you go out and buy a new one, that's the worst.
Then you're wasting
you just
money.
wasted more time and more money, and then you find that item later, and then you feel really stupid. So that happens to me a lot, and no more. Deciding not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good plan.
mise en place. everything has a place.
Yes.
So decide where the best place to put something is and only put it there. So the Marie Kondo thing, I've also been exploring minimalism, and you have as well.
I consider myself a minimalist. Other than like
How many items?
one box of like childhood stuff that I still have that I should probably go through because I don't need it anymore. I don't like to keep many items around, and my wardrobe isn't super big. Nothing, I mean, it's not extreme minimalism, but it's definitely, I don't have anything that I wouldn't need within 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, you only have things that you value in your life, which is good. I mean, you're young. Hopefully you haven't accumulated too many things, too many junk items in your life. I would say that I'm starting a minimalist journey that I don't quite identify there yet because I still have a lot of stuff to go through. But I didn't want to conflate minimalism with the KonMari method. Minimalism is really a philosophy and way of life, and it has that like, what do you need, and then what adds value to your life, and that's just how you live.
Yeah, with like everything.
And there are some similarities, but I would say the KonMari method of Marie Kondo is more a technique of how to get rid of things in your life.
Yeah, and how to actually organize.
And yes, and I would say even more so that it's more focused on organizing what you actually want to keep. But one similarity that both of these have is the idea of, does this item have value in your life? For Marie, that's the question of, does it spark joy?
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more colorful and descriptive, and I think that it's helpful for people to
Identify
grasp
with,
onto
yeah.
that concept, because also the ultimate question is, do I want this thing going forward into my future? Because there's lots of items that we have nostalgia around that we may want to keep going into our future, and there's a lot of items that we have nostalgia for that we realize that we don't want this in the future. We just have nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
But that's not what sparking joy is. It's item to your future.
Not item from your past.
Right. So there is that similarity. But they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you can follow Marie Kondo's technique and not be a minimalist, and you can be a minimalist and not really do the KonMari method, because you might not have enough stuff to like really organize, especially if you're like a traveler.
And minimalism isn't necessarily things that bring you joy. It's functionality.
Well, it's also value.
It's value, but it's not necessarily joy. Like, you might have like a couple things that are very important to you and sentimental, but the majority of it is, I don't have very much stuff because I don't need very much stuff to actually be alive and to live my daily life.
Yeah. I would say less extreme forms of minimalism would be more like sparking joy.
Yeah.
That you only have things that spark joy for you that hold value, or you need them to go forward. But again, you could be a minimalist and not do KonMari. You could do KonMari and not be a minimalist, or you could do both. Yes. And I'm trying out the waters to do both, like the KonMari method to get to minimalism, maybe, or at least somewhere close to it, whether it's a diet minimalism, or maybe I'll go all the way. Like, it becomes an easier process. And Marie has a good way of doing this too, because even before I had watched the show, I was saying goodbye to items. I'd say buy socks and buy whatever item. But on the show, she also says to be grateful for the item, even if you never used it, because the item, I don't know, it just helps you say goodbye to things. So you say thank you to the item and then let it go. So that's actually a really great like behavioral way to get you to let go of items that you should be throwing out or donating because it's basically junk or you don't use it anymore, by not making you feel bad for getting rid of it, because I think that holds people back, is like the fear of letting go of something, the need to fill space with clutter.
Yeah.
And feeling bad for throwing something out, even if you don't use it.
Especially with,
I don't know.
And a lot of people find that too with, if you like were to get a gift, you don't want to return it because like they got you that gift, and you don't want to like get rid of it because that person bought you that gift.
But then you don't use it and you don't like it.
Yeah, and it just like
bad.
sits in a closet or something, collecting dust, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, you thanked the person, now thank the item, and you don't need it in your life.
Another good technique I've heard is taking pictures of things. Is also a good way of letting go, especially of gifts. So you want to remember, oh, this person got me this gift, which is important to me, that they cared enough to give me something, but I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to re-gift it or donate it or throw it out or whatever it is. But you take a picture before you do, and then you can just keep all of the pictures from that year into like a special folder, and you could always go back through and like look at the picture, and you feel the same way about the item, because it's really the person behind the item, not the
actual item
having
itself.
the item.
Yeah.
It's just the idea behind the item. So that's a good way to let go if you're hesitant, especially on some more sentimental, nostalgic items or gifts.
Yes.
So that also leads to computer organization.
Ooh, that's rough.
Because not only am I like the worst clutter bug in my real life, but also my virtual life. Like my computer is a mess, and I've been going through recently and like deleting a bunch of stuff that I didn't need anymore to free up hard drive space to put the podcast.
Yeah.
And I've had this computer for a little while, but then it also had like my previous 2 laptops,
which is ridiculous,
backed up on it when I got new computers. When those ones died, it's been a horrifying experience, and it's
there
still
was
not organized.
so much just random files and like even memes that were saved on your computer.
I know, I don't know what I was thinking.
They're like, I need this.
Old videos from a previous video project too that were just taking up so much space, and they needed to go.
Yeah.
So it said, thank you project, bye, thank you next.
Thank you next.
In the immortal words of Ariana Grande.
And yeah, that's another place. I'm pretty proud of my virtual organization.
I'm so mad at you.
Because
you're like a professional
I tend
organizer.
to, so I do online school, and so I have to download my projects. Like I print them off and then I re-download them onto the computer, and after I turn it in, I delete it. Wow. Because I don't need it.
You're so good.
I don't need the project anymore.
You know what? I would just leave it on my computer for years,
like,
apparently.
I hold on to the pieces of paper until I'm done with the class, and then I recycle them, just in case I need to rescan it for any reason. But I don't need the digital, because I know if it just sits there after I turn it in, like, it'll become a problem and it'll pile up.
Yeah, like me.
So...
And my email, too. My inbox is...
Yeah.
It's a problem.
So in my mind, it
causes
easier.
other people anxiety.
Some of my inbox is not great. Like, I think it's like the social...
Those ones are so hard because they're like
It's
updates
I can't.
and ads and all of that
I
stuff.
can't go through that. So like my
Nonsense.
primary box is pretty clean. I know our mom has kept her inbox really clean as of recently. She goes through she goes through every day and deletes emails that she no longer needs, or like sorts them and sorts important emails.
Email cleanse, which is one of the things I was doing today, was going through and deleting work emails, because now my work inbox is like starting
to fill up.
Yeah, because we receive a lot of like extra emails from community partners, and they're just, some of them are important and other ones aren't important to the work that I do, but just because we
Folders are great.
work together. Yeah, but I just need to delete them because they're like unopened because I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
So then I'm going through and like deleting.
It's like, but even
emails. Oh no.
Organization is key. That's what we're getting at here.
Yeah, because otherwise you just feel stressed out.
Yeah.
It's so stressful to walk
not being
into
able
a
to
room
find things.
that is cluttered, and not being able to.
Not having a place to sit on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
Schuyler.
Hey. I was doing pretty good. All I have is my backpack over here.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
No. Schuyler has a paper problem.
Oh yeah, paper is
That's
definitely
like digital and paper.
When Marie Kondo, so she's going through like all of her things, she's like clothing.
Which I'm proud of you for your clothing right now. You
helped me a lot.
We've done a clothing cleanse.
Thankfully, I didn't have too much to go through.
Yeah.
Most of it was like old high school.
But you had like 2 big trash bags of donation items.
I'm gonna have like another bag probably,
which is a good amount of clothes that you needed to get rid of.
Yeah, but like some people on the show have like 20 bags of stuff.
Well, you're not a shopaholic.
No, thankfully I'm not. So clothing was like a moderate issue. Most of my clothing issues stem from me not doing laundry correctly. But the clothing itself wasn't too bad. Then the next one's books. And I do have quite a few books that I need to donate as well. I just need to go through them. But I think I'm ready to let go of quite a few of them.
Yeah.
But then my problem, is papers. Anything from
receipts,
junk, just junk to even like moderately important papers,
mail,
to, like, creative papers. And I think that paper problems do stem from more like creative personalities, because I did get to an episode where there was a writer and he was attached to papers.
Yeah.
But like none of the other people had paper problems. Mm-hmm. They had clothing problems for the most part, or they had like junk in their garage problems. But this guy had a paper problem and he was like a paper hoarder. And I'm like, that's me. It's me. So like watching him go through his papers was like a really poignant moment, because I felt his pain when he's like, I wrote this song when I was 12. Should I keep it or should I not? It's like, papers are hard.
They are.
But I've gotta do a file system for the important papers I need to keep, like those permanent documents, and then need to have a system where when the mail comes in, the bills go in like an action tray and everything else gets recycled right away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem.
That's been
a paper problem.
Yeah, big paper problem.
And then the other things are like miscellaneous items. I don't have too many junk items, thankfully, because I haven't like lived a long life.
But what I'm looking at right now, your DVDs.
I feel like those would go in a book category, but most of those aren't mine. Those are Daniel's.
Yeah.
We need to go through our music collection, video games, DVDs, books, because that's something that we have collected quite a few of between the two of us. But like miscellaneous, like junk items, thankfully not too many. Like I don't really have doubles of too much stuff in the kitchen, for instance, like where you'd be like, oh, I've got 3 of the same obscure kitchen tool.
Except ginger. You have tons of ginger.
Okay, well, we're using it. That's a food
It will
item.
be used, but
it will be.
Which is
that's fine.
That was your unorganization thing before you moved, that you had a ton of ginger just lying around places in your kitchen and your dining room. And then when we moved and I went through all her spices, there were like 5 containers of ginger.
And it went into the spice rotatey thingy-majigger.
Not all of it.
No, and then the others in the drawer. The little drawer.
And then her significant other went out to the store and bought 2 more.
He didn't realize that there was more ginger in the drawer. He thought like we're running out.
And I figured.
Yeah.
But there was an organization thing, and
communication is key.
Communication is key. Following organization is key. And he went out and bought 2 more bottles of ginger.
But it's fine. It's all going to be used within a month anyway.
Yeah.
So it'll be okay.
But that's...
At least it's not like another hammer or another... I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, like another tool, like you already have it, you don't need a second one. Mm-hmm. Like you just need one. So, it will be used.
But
Moral
just
of the story,
talking about the communication and sticking to your organization so that things don't build up, so you don't think, oh, I need this, and then you don't actually need it. You have plenty of it for the time being.
Right.
Which is why we make lists, which is why we make grocery lists, which is why we make lists of necessities that we need to buy. It should also be, if you think of something like, oh, I need a picture frame or something, and you put it on a list so that if you end up buying it, you cross it off, you know that you have it. So if it gets lost somewhere, which hopefully it shouldn't, you know that it's somewhere.
Right. Well, and I want to circle back too, because it's one thing when you're trying to organize your own space and you can kind of do it however you want to, but when you're organizing with a significant other or spouse or a roommate, it's really important that you respect each other. You respect each other's space and style and taste and the items. So Daniel and I both have kind of an attachment to our music collection and books and DVDs and that kind of thing that we've just kind of accumulated over time, which I joke, we've got our own library and we've got our own mini Blockbuster.
Yeah, really?
But I think I'm at the point now where I'm ready to say goodbye to some things that I've been clinging on to for a couple of years, even though I've known that I need to give them away. I'm like finally ready. I'm like, this needs to happen. Mm-hmm. Whereas Daniel's response to, like, we're moving everything into the office and we're trying to put everything away out of the boxes, and his response is, we need another shelf for all our stuff. And I'm like, my response is, let's get rid of some stuff so we don't need another shelf.
Yeah.
So it's just about communication, where I'm like, I might be ready to let go of some stuff, but he might not be ready yet, and vice versa. So, you know, you just have to communicate with your partner and understand where you're both at and the importance of why do you want to clean up a space, because if you don't have that, it can just feel like you're trying to throw out all of my stuff.
Because, so when I walk into the office and when I see personally as me being an organization freak and whatever, all the stuff that is in there, all the books and records and stuff like that, that physically gives me anxiety. And for Daniel, it's comforting. Yes, and for somebody else, it would be very comforting. And so if you have
everyone's different. Yeah.
If I was trying to compromise with him, I would be like, I would express my feeling and be like, this gives me actual anxiety. So if we can work through this, and if we were to sit down and say do the KonMari method
with a glass of wine,
you do it together.
Make it a
moment.
You
sit down and be because it's also. If you sit down just by yourself and you're going through stuff and you're not very invested in it and invested in getting rid of things, you're just going to want to keep it all because it's all very sentimental to you, even if you've never watched, you haven't watched this movie in 3 years.
Accountability.
Yeah.
There.
You really question, I was with Schuyler when she was going through some stuff.
She's mean.
And
she's a great accountability buddy.
Do you really need this? And she goes,
oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It's nice. I've had it for a while. And you're like, I'm throwing it out. You're like, no.
I'm like, does it bring you joy? And you're like, I mean, I'm like, you're iffy on it. He doesn't. Because she was like, I really want to get rid of things, and then she picks something up and she's like, oh, but I want it.
It's really hard to get started, but as Marie says, it's like once you hone that skill to actually know what sparks joy. So as she says, you can pick up items that you for sure know spark joy, like those good things that you're like, yes, I know, I love this, because then you're gonna know that's the ching feeling that makes you feel amazing, and that's valuable, and that's what sparks joy, and that's what you should keep. And those things that you're like meh or nah, obviously gotta go.
Yeah, which also brings me to the point, if you're buying something from the store, also think about that.
Does it
when
change?
You buy it? Does it make you feel, and a lot of things also, if you see something one day, it's not most likely not going to be gone in a week.
I've had some really horrid experiences,
but for the most part, like if it's a dish set or something like that, something big, that not too big, something big that you're gonna have to see every day and use every day, you don't want to hate it. So look at it,
do
and
research.
if you have your heart set on
Feel
something,
yes.
wait a week or a few days or a month, depending on how, like, what this purchase is, and
like the
then
bigger the
buy
purchase, the less likely it's gonna go away. Like clothing, unfortunately, with fast fashion industry, tends to rotate through pretty quickly. So
Yeah,
you
which
kinda
is why
need to,
people build up clothing easier.
you do need to like still do spark joy with clothing, because it can accumulate.
But the thing is, you go-
have to do it in like kind of the moment or within a week, because the item could be gone. And I've had experiences where clothing has disappeared, but the larger the item, the less likely it'll disappear off the market, and the more time you should wait.
And
like,
talking about
furniture
clothing
pieces,
specifically,
yeah, I wait months before I buy furniture.
yeah.
I do a lot of research and I wait for it to go on sale, and these pieces have been on the market for like 2 or 3 years, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
They're most likely not going to go away. But with clothing, and like if you have to buy it then and you really like it, that's fine, but you have to go through clothing more often than like miscellaneous items. You don't have to like redo the KonMari method that often, but like every 6 months or with each season, you need to be going through your clothes and deciding like what you actually want to
if you
keep.
haven't worn it
If
in
something still
a year,
fits,
say goodbye.
Yeah. And then next year with the new fashion, you'll pick something up again from the store.
Even better, find some more sustainable clothing. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's going to last longer, and it's going to be in style because it's just a classic look.
Yeah.
But, it's really, you have to figure out what your clothing style is. Can I just talk about my sock drawer?
Yes, talk about your sock drawer.
I'm so excited. My socks have always been a hassle, and it's because we receive socks every Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. I've received socks for my birthday.
Which was great at first, because you're always in need of socks, it seems like. Mm-hmm. But when you get tons of socks every year for Christmas, things spiral.
They get out of hand.
Yeah, so
I get out of foot.
Yeah,
But
you took my pun away. I was gonna say, oh, then the sock got off on the wrong foot.
Oh, bad jokes. Continue.
Okay, well, anyway, so like this is one of the tactics that I learned from the KonMari method, and I really like how she teaches organization, like putting like items together and how to fold clothes. But one of the sock folding tips was really helpful. Well, all the clothing folding is really helpful because they fit in the drawer really nice and you can see everything. But the socks was always a struggle, because when you put them together and like put them in the drawer, they look ugly and they're all over the place and you can't find what you need.
Yes.
And her method is just like fold the 2 socks together, so you're not tearing the band, you're not like stretching it, which is great because you don't want to wear out your socks prematurely. But then also they look really beautiful in the drawer and you can see the designs on them.
And you can actually find them instead of
Find them. They
rummaging through a drawer.
Since I've done this like a few days ago, I will, if I need a pick me up, I'll go to the drawer and like open it and look at how beautiful my socks are.
It took a lot of time and effort.
It did.
For
It
you
took an entire
to go through everything.
evening, and I still haven't found all of the socks in the move. And I'm also getting rid of old socks that are like dingy and I don't wear anymore anyway. Like, just thank you, bye sock. But I open up the drawer, I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. You can see all of the socks and they're like folded all neatly, but I love my sock drawer, and it's really inspired me to like keep doing the organization, because I was kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, I like the end game of it, but like the actually doing it part is hard, because there's a lot to do, because I struggle. But that just makes me happy.
Yeah.
That brings me joy. And so that inspires me to keep organizing and keep updating my life. I'm going to move on to briefly touching on city planning and the environment.
The world.
Right. So city planning, we can see that like parks and green space are really important for emotional health, and adding plants to your home and workspace. Yes. You can make fun of my plants.
I can make fun of you killing your plants.
But look, I mean, okay, that plant that we thought was going to die, bloomed.
It bloomed.
Okay, and the money tree is still okay.
It is alive.
It is alive. And
how's your succulent?
The succulent is alive.
Okay.
It's on my work desk. So I haven't killed anything yet. But they do bring you joy, and having green space just like makes people happy. But then cities also need to be functional.
Yes.
In their planning, because you can see with Washington D.C. how like, oh, it was a great idea, except for in practice it's not very functional, and you can't get around the city very easily.
Yeah.
So going forward, creating a space for like, I like the idea of those hamlet designs where you don't have to drive forever in a day to get to a grocery store and banks and everything, because there's kind of a city sprawl. Being in an urban environment like we are, but also being in the Midwest, like it's especially sprawling, because we do have a lot of space here, but then we just kind of fill it with.
So I will touch on real quick. So Omaha has really weird city planning. It's not good. It's terrible. I'm so happy that
because
when
they have like those old horse paths or
something. I mean, not to say that a hilly place is bad, but they have hills and weird places that roads like it was weird and weird city planning. But you know, it's an older city that they were just trying to get it out there and like build it back in the day, and then think it through that one day we would be where we are right now. But Lincoln is built on a grid system, which I greatly enjoy for city planning. Obviously some parts and neighborhoods aren't necessarily on a grid, but the main structure of the whole city is a grid, so it's easier to find your way around. If you're like from out of town, you're like, oh, this street matches up like with this street, like it goes you know, west to east number wise, and A to Z, like
it makes sense.
Which is appreciated for people that don't know what they're doing.
And
I know what I'm doing.
It's like there are areas of the city I realized I hadn't really visited before, but it's really easy to find those locations because you get the structure. Yeah, it makes sense. So I'm like, oh, I know exactly where that is. Even
it's a grid. It's like a map. It's like coordinates.
Yeah, you can just think of it as a map. So that makes sense. And when I talk about hamlets, I really do mean like having kind of smaller hamlet style things, and then having residential areas like more integrated with them. Because I don't know, you just feel like really disconnected from the community when you're far away from all the things that you need. Yeah, and you have to drive to them, which is also unsustainable and not great for the environment when you have to drive all over the place. But if things are a little bit more interconnected and the things that you need are right near your home, then that makes more sense. But right now we live in kind of environment like these big box stores that you have to drive to from miles and miles and miles away. So, you know. It's not great. But what if you had like a little market near your house and a coffee shop and a bank and everything? Like a little hamlet. I like that idea.
Yeah. So touching on the environment and, you know, driving, pollution, that
Reducing
kind of thing.
your carbon footprint, green, sustainable living.
Yes. Electric cars.
I'm excited.
All that kind of stuff. It's a problem that we've been avoiding for a long time as a nation and the world. Yeah. There's some places that are more progressive in what they do and have stricter guidelines, but especially in America, it's rough out here.
Yeah, it
It's
really
rough
is.
out here for the...
Because there are people who really care and do a lot in their daily lives, and then there are some people who just don't even think about it.
But imagine what the world would be like if none of us cared.
And imagine what the world would look like if we each just cared at least a little bit.
Yeah. So there's...
You don't have to
kind
be
of
hardcore. But
offset, I would say, the
don't
really
know.
bad and the really good.
or the apathetic. I don't know.
But there's a certain point when it's gonna end badly.
It's already not great. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had a lot of really bad storms and bad weather conditions the past few years. So.
Apparently Alaska's getting warmer.
Oh, no.
So
Mountains, they're glaciers.
it's just something to be conscious about because it is your world. Like, you are living on it. And it would be not great to destroy that and to clutter that up with things.
For us.
Yeah.
I love this George Carlin quote because, it's like, oh, save the planet, save the planet. It's like, the planet's gonna be fine. Earth's been around for a real long time.
Oh yeah, it'll recover.
It'll be fine. Maybe it wanted plastic all along. But it needed humans to produce it. Like, that's,
Yeah.
that's the joke. But we're the ones who are in trouble. We really are. Like, we're creating our own destruction
Yeah.
through this process. Through pollution. Like, pollution doesn't hurt the planet. It hurts people.
Mm-hmm.
And killing or causing the extinction of certain animals is, I think, inherently bad within itself, but also some of these animals could be the cure that we're looking for, or have some kind of mechanism that we could study that would help and benefit human society, and we're causing their demise. Or we could do
Yeah.
something where even if we weren't causing their demise and they were already endangered to begin with, that we can protect them. And this is selfish. That's a selfish reason. But also, if you care about people as well, you gotta care about the environment.
There's multiple benefits.
Yes. Because again, the Earth as a planet is gonna be fine
Yeah.
until it's not.
Doesn't matter what's on
just-
the Earth. The
It's
Earth's
just planet.
gonna be
but
there.
We're on the Earth, and I'm on the Earth.
Right now, we're here.
I'm alive, and I'd like to continue to be alive. So. But there are little things that you can do in your life that may not seem like they have a big impact, but which are still important. That if everybody did,
We're not
just
saying
a little bit,
yeah, we're not
it
saying
would be
go
okay.
zero waste or
No,
anything
no.
like that, but
recycle the things that you can. Eat some locally sourced foods. Become a vegetarian, or
Just
what
cut
I
down.
would say green friendly.
yeah.
Eat a little more vegetables is healthier for you anyway.
Don't eat as
More
much
sustainable.
meat.
Right.
Not saying cut it out completely, but you don't need meat in all 3 meals of your day,
No.
every single day. Not necessary for
But-
human survival because
Once a day or a few
weird,
times
we're
a week?
herbivores.
We're omnivores.
Omnivores, whatever.
You're
Look
so
at
funny.
me. I mean, we can.
We're omnivores. We're like goats. We could eat anything.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
But the thing is, we could be herbivores.
Yeah, but
If we cut meat completely out, so many people do that we don't.
But a like a high fiber, high nutrient diet, you know, like you're watching your macros, like that's healthy. We eat so much junk food that's produced by fast food restaurants and
that travels on trucks for long distances, that pollutes the earth.
Source, like, even if you're getting a locally sourced beer, at least it's not traveling halfway across the nation. And microbreweries locally are damn good.
Yeah.
They're real good. Just might I say. I like them. But there's lots of other little things like meal planning so you're not wasting food, and then turning lights off when you don't need them, not running water, and watching your AC and heat and other things like that. So they're just really little habits that you can infuse into your life.
And it saves you money.
Yeah, they all save money. They all save you time.
So why not implement them?
And they help everybody on the planet. Let's not have to go to Mars.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds fun, but...
Except for the space radiation.
Not for an extended period of time.
Maybe. Be on that Tesla shot into space.
Yes.
That'd be great. Okay. So, environmental goals. Really important to make your space what you want and make it functional. So, if you have any environmental goals that you want to share with us, please leave them down in the comment section below. We really love hearing from you. Next week, we'll be discussing time management. So how we value time and tactics we can use to be more productive with our time, such as block scheduling, to-do lists, and the Pomodoro technique. So we hope to see you next week.
And we will also be starting Friday videos on March 1st.
Oh yeah.
So tune into those starting in March. If you like what we're doing here, please oh god.
You were a joy in my life.
What was that? Keen's computer.
Just...
If you like what we're doing here, please consider becoming a supporter of the show. The Fireside Chat podcast is part of a new entertainment hub called The Fox Hollow. We'll have shows about money, gaming, music, legal comedy, and more on YouTube, and we post new Fireside Chat episodes every Monday. If you'd like to ask a question or submit a public comment to be shared on the podcast, please email us at thefoxhollowhub@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, please become a patron by donating at patreon.com/thefoxhollow, linked in the description below. You can follow us on Instagram at thefoxhollow.yt, and if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss another podcast or video.
And if you haven't checked out Robinhood yet, you definitely should. Robinhood is an online investing and banking app. They give the power back to the people by not charging fees or commissions when you go to buy and sell stocks. Use this referral code to get started. share.robinhood.com/SCHUYLG7 and you will receive one free share of a random stock. And you have the chance to win some big name investments like Apple and Berkshire Hathaway. By using this referral code, both you, the listener, and myself will receive a random share of stock. This is a great way to give back to the show while also getting a gift in return. We post new podcasts every Mondays, and soon we'll be posting videos every Friday. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next week. Bye!